2017 in Los Angeles was bathed in golden sunlight.
The streets buzzed with traffic, street musicians, and wandering tourists.
Yet just off a prestigious avenue stood Tone Masters,
A two-story guitar store admired across the country.
its black fart gleamed under the sun,
Glass windows stretching from floor to ceiling.
revealing walls lined with guitars inside.
Entering the shop was like stepping into a sanctuary. High ceilings allowed sunlight to pour onto the walls,
Illuminating instruments that seemed alive.
vintage fenders with sunburst finishes,
Handcrafted acoustics of mahogany, rosewood and spruce, and limited edition electrics in impossible colors, deep violet flame maple, metallic teal,
and molten amber sunburst gleamed as if they had stories of their own. At the heart of the main floor, in a glass display case, rested a $25,000 electric guitar.
quilted maple top with cherry sunburst fading to amber, smooth rosewood neck, ebony fretboard polished to a mirror sheen with mother-of-pearl inlays, hand-wound humbuckers with chrome covers, gold-plated bridge, knobs and tuners, custom light gauge strings. Behind the counter, Jake, a young employee, sorted paperwork.
Confident in his instincts, he believed he could spot serious buyers immediately. Expensive shoes, designer watch, confident posture, it all mattered. The bell above the door chimed, and Ozzy Osbourne entered quietly with Sharon.
Sunglasses down, long black coat draping.
He admired the shop's grandeur, taking in the mezzanine, spiral staircase, and walls of guitars.
Sharon's eyes swept the shop,
Noticing every detail of polished wood, chrome, and sunlight reflecting of instruments, Jake barely looked up, focused on his paperwork.
unaware of the rock legend quietly browsing the instruments,
The atmosphere was calm, golden,
and full of anticipation.
as Tone Masters waited to witness another story unfold between its walls. Carlos Santana walked slowly, observing each instrument with reverence.
Every curve, every finish, every headstock told him a story.
Moments later, Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon ascended the main floor. The shop, with its mezzanine and two-story layout, was a paradise for musicians.
Ozzy inhaled the faint scent of polished wood and listened to the subtle hum of strings.
Savoring the thrill of discovery, Carlos Santana paused at the glass display case holding the $25,000 guitar.
He traced the curves with his fingers, felt the smooth rosewood neck, admired the ebony fretboard and mother-of-pearl inlays,
and marveled at the hand-wound humbuckers.
"Excuse me,
"May I try this guitar?" he asked politely. Jake hesitated, assuming he couldn't afford it. He pointed toward the starter guitars in the back. "You can try the beginner models over there." Carlos Santana smiled warmly.
I would like to try this one, please."
Jake unlocked the display case, handing over the guitar. Every detail quilted maple, sunburst finish, gold hardware glimmered under the sunlight.
Customers began whispering. Ozzy Osbourne watched silently, a small smile forming, while Sharon's eyes swept the shop, noting every detail.
Jake forced a polite smile, trying to hide his discomfort.
"Sir, that guitar costs $25,000, he said, carefully choosing his words.
The elderly man nodded calmly, almost as if the price didn't matter.
"I noticed the price," he replied softly, eyes glinting with quiet confidence.
Jake, flustered, pointed toward the back corner of the store. "If you'd like to try a guitar, the starter models are over there," he said, hoping to redirect the man. But the man's smile didn't waver. "May I just try this one?" Jake hesitated, unsure if he should argue. Finally, he unlocked the glass case, and with reverence, handed over the $25,000 guitar.
The instrument practically shimmered in his hands.
The quilted maple top caught the sunlight, glowing with a warmth that made the gold-plated hardware gleam.
The ebony fretboard reflected each ray, as if waiting to be played.
Ozzy stood silently nearby, observing. His gaze was steady, intense.
Sharon stayed close, her eyes scanning every movement.
Sensing the tension building in the room, the customers around them sensed something extraordinary was unfolding.
An ordinary-looking man was holding a legendary guitar while one of rock's icons
Quietly watched.
The last note lingered in the air. Silence followed, almost sacred.
Jake stepped closer, realization dawning. This melody, he had heard it millions of times. It was familiar, iconic.
Ozzy chuckled softly, a mix of amusement and respect.
Not bad, he said. The elderly man laughed lightly, eyes twinkling. Jake's eyes widened. The guitar in his hands wasn't just any instrument, and the man playing it wasn't just any customer. It was Carlos Santana,
One of the greatest guitarists in the world.
Jake's face drained of color. He had just sent a living legend to the starter guitar section, assuming his quiet demeanor meant he was inexperienced. Around them, customers whispered, clapped softly, and exchanged glances.
The tension that had filled the shop melted into admiration and understanding. A powerful lesson had just been delivered, without a single word.
Jake stammered, barely finding words. Didn't realize.
Santana smiled warmly.
No worries. We all start somewhere, he said, the kindness in his tone easing the embarrassment.
Ozzy stepped closer, joking. Still sounds better in the right hands. The tension completely dissolved. Smiles spread. Everyone understood the moment. Greatness doesn't always announce itself.
Sometimes legends walk in quietly, and when they play, the world listens. Santana carefully returned the $25,000 guitar to its glass case,
handling it with the respect of a craftsman and the ease of a master. Ozzy and Sharon lingered by the door, watching him leave,
sharing a silent understanding of the rare privilege they had just witnessed.
Outside, the sun cast golden light
across the polished instruments and the gleaming
wooden floors of tone masters.
Jake stood frozen, awe and humility washing over him. He had just learned a lesson he would never forget.